my ears and my head. I'm like,
Lucius Daza.
all we do is that like get the
At the end of 3 quarters, Red Devils 42, Knights 47. This little basketball program.
Yes.
SunDome Shootout.
Go check it out.
Participants, thank you for supporting.
Right now we're no, we did round for a while.
Where's the bathroom?
Just had started back. So we started second. Now it was like, yeah, because upgraded zone. Now he's about kind of reline. But we did around, we did the all the call. That little jump man right here was always out of the zone. So now that we go to the
Boy, we had a good game going on here at this SunDome Shootout. I'm Nick Beckman for the FinalScore.tv, and it looks like we're going to get a little game action going on as it's a 1-point ball game in the fourth quarter of this. This is the matchup between the Red Devils of East Valley and Kingsway Christian. So this is one of our 2 o'clock matchups. A great game going on the floor as East Valley in the home whites up by 1 with 2:45 to go, and they'll take a timeout. East Valley having a good season so far, or they're having a tough season so far. They're 9th in their league in the 2A Central Washington Athletic Conference. They're looking for their first in-conference or their second out-of-conference win. They're 0-4 in conference. Kingsway Christian, the Knights are number 2 in the 1A Trico division behind the Trappers of Fort Vancouver and just ahead of the La Center Wildcats, who played Brewster earlier in the day, and La Center able to get the win over Brewster. Fort Vancouver with a big win over Quincy earlier in the day. The 1A Trappers able to get a hold of the 57 win for Fort Vancouver to hold on to that number 1 spot in the 1A Trico. Fort Vancouver now 5-2 on the season. Kingsway Christian, they're 6-1 on the season right now and looking to get this W is at the line. I'm going to be on the FinalScore.tv, and as I look at that, I'm going to look at this roster because I don't have any live action rosters. So what I'm going to do on the FinalScore.tv, check in with me. You can go FinalScore.tv, click on the schools, and now I'm going to type in Kingsway Christian, and I will be able to tell you who is who. The Kingsway Christian Knights now tied up at 54. And as I said, Knights 6-1. And take a look who's out on the floor for the Red Devils of East Valley as they're looking to get their second win on the season. I'm going to scroll down past that schedule for Kingsway, and then there's a team roster for boys basketball. As the ball comes up short for the Red Devils, and they fall back on defense, and Kingsway will bring the ball across the front court. Patrick Carney Jr. with the ball. 2 minutes to go, 2:04 left in this fourth quarter, a tied up fourth. Nice feed inside. And we get a timeout. Nice bucket by Kingsway as they got the ball down on the right block. A nice little dig. The rim able to go, and Knights up by 2 now with 1:58 to go, 56-54. Been a great day of basketball here at the Yakima SunDome on the grounds of the Central Washington Fairgrounds. And we've got 14 games today. This is our 2 o'clock matchups. Cascade Christian able to get Port Angeles. Port Angeles came in a little undermanned without their leading scorer and a couple other players. And Cascade Christian able to get the W there as they continue their run through the 1A. Just 2 losses on the season. I talked to the Cougars head coach, Cody Shackett, before they went down to play on court number 2 and face those Rough Riders of Port Angeles. But Cascade Christian able to get that win. They lost their 4A, and you know what? If I do this, go right back to the FinalScore.tv, I can tell you what Cascade Christian did earlier in the season. We'll check that at Cascade Christian Cougars. You just click on the Cougars, you go right down, and there's league standings, team details. They're 6-2 on the season, now 7-2, as they are holding on to the 4th place in the league standings behind the Seattle Christian Warriors, Annie Wright, and Bellevue Christian. Actually, Vashon with a 5-2 record is percentage points better. They're 2-2 in league. Cascade Christian 1-2, so they're sitting in the 5th spot right now. But their losses, as I look at their schedule, they were able to run Eatonville 68-35 to get out the gates early in December, that first week of December. They lost by 2 to the number 1 Seattle Christian team, 47-45 back on the 9th of December. And the Annie Wright game against the defending 1A state champions at Annie Wright. That was a 7-point win for the Gators at Annie Wright, 66-59. And then the win today, 61-23 over Port Angeles. Cascade Christian able to to get past 5:59:45. And so they've had a really good season so far. Getting a win over Clover Park at Fife High School back on that championship football Saturday back in December on the 12th. It was a 70-65 win. Yeah, like I say, they came up short against Annie Wright, and they came up short against the Seattle Christian. So those were their 2 losses. Just a 2-point loss there and 7 points to Annie Wright back on December 20th. So Cascade Christian Cougars getting a good win today, helping their momentum into the new year. And we're here with Kingsway Christian, the 1A team, number 2 in the Trico right now, holding on to a 2-point lead as the Red Devils of East Valley, the local squad, the home team, looking to get their second win on the season. The inbounds pass will go in, and going to get a foul called up on top.
Fouls on number 5, Cooper Spray, his third.
So foul going to be called on flag. That'll be his third. And it's like just a 14 foul, so the Red Devils will get the ball out of bounds with just under a minute to go. And they're looking to either tie it or get the lead here if they can get one from beyond the arc. Nice tight basketball. Great basketball being played. Long 3 off the front of the rim. Rebound pulled down on the weak side. Outlet by the Knights. Tough outlet. Great defense by the Red Devils. Ball batted around and into the hands of Kingsway. So the Knights come out on top on that loose ball and able to get it into the front court. Coach will take a timeout. Opway 2 with 37.8. 25 on the shot clock, so a little 12-second differential. So East Valley just needs to play some defense, get the stop they're looking for, and then come down and convert and see if they can either tie it or get the win. We're having a great day of basketball here at the SunDome in Yakima. It's the Wilbur Ellis SunDome Shootout. This is our 25th year here at the Shootout. As I say our, because I'm owning being here today. I love that Mario Mangarelli and Zilla assistant principal Ryan Phillips invited us to be here today to watch some great basketball all day long. We've got teams from all over the state. We've got teams from 4A all the way down to 2A, or the 1As. And looking at it, when I was looking at my schedule earlier, we've got of the 14 teams here. We got 28 teams total, 14 games today and 14 games tomorrow. So 28 games in total. But on the boys' side, we got 24 teams. 1/3 of those teams are ranked in the WIBCA state rankings. I mean, we've got 3 teams in the 1A ranked in the top 10, 3 teams in the 2A ranked in the top 10, and then we've got 2 in the 4A rankings, and that's going to be our last game of the night, is that West Valley and Glacier Peak matchup. So we're looking forward to that. And coming up after the finish of this game, because it's such a good game, we're going to watch that here. We'll have a conversation with Brian Hunter and of Glacier Peak, as Glacier Peak having a great season so far. Glacier Peak ranked number 3 in the 3A tournament. West Valley actually at number 5. So, and tie this up, 56-58. This is SunDome Shootout Invitational basketball at its best. East Valley, the 2A Central. A nice inbounds shot blocked and a foul called. So we're going to go to the line and tie it up. Referee said that the block on the top was good, but you got him with the body. So the Red going to call a lane violation on the Red Devils. So that bucket went through, but the free throw fell in, but it's going to get nullified by the lane violation on the Red Devils. And so with 4.9 to go, get a timeout called by East Valley. Yeah, the Kingsway Christian Knights looks like they might be able to hold on if they can get this inbounds pass and burn that last 4.9 seconds off the clock. They'll walk away with the win, and that'll be their 7th on the season in this early season. So they'll be 7-1, holding on to that number 2 spot in the Trico League. Out of Southwest Washington, Fort Vancouver, Kingsway Christian and La Center. The Wildcats of La Center coming away with the win. As I go back to my full scoreboard on the finalscore.tv. Just that easy. Click on the remote. You'll see live interviews, articles, special events, playoffs. We've got actually one of the great girls team, the Deer Park girls out of Spokane, match 5-0 in league and 6-1 are identical records to the Leopards of Zilla on the girls side. And like I say, so that'll be a 4A versus a 1A matchup, and that'll be a fun one to watch as the West Valley Rams, the local team in Zilla, just 15 minutes down, 82 out of Yakima as you head south. And then the Seal Vikings out of the northwest of Yakima, they're going to match up with the Stags of Deer Park. Deer Park #2 in the varsity Washington rankings in the state. In the 2A rankings, they play in that greater Spokane League. Deer Park just a little bit northwest of Spokane. And then Seal, like I say, a little northwest of Yakima here. The Seal girls, the Seal Vikings are 7-0 on the Seal. And I talked to head coach Joel Yellow Owl, and Joel was very complimentary to his team as he was able to take over the reins after the tragic loss. Has taken over the reins, this is being his second season now. As we're going to get the ball, 3.8 to go. And as you're watching, that ball went out of bounds, and the Devils able to get the possession. 3.8. They're going to check the time on the clock, so ran off just about 1.1. So they're going to call that good. They'll make it 3.5 left. Time for a long pass and get a good shot, and they can get that shot from beyond the arc, and that'll be a game winner. As the long pass looking to get it in. Half-court shot with 2-1 from the top of the key for 3, off the front of the rim, and just bounces off. And Kingsway Christian Knights are going to hold on. And that's our game number 6 of the day is in the books now here at the Yakima SunDome. And the finalscore.tv, we're not doing play-by-play, so we got a little taste of what's going on here at the SunDome. Just a great day, and what the Final Score TV is all about, it's all about promoting people getting back and watching these teams play and getting back to your local gyms. If you're not in the Yakima Valley area, we're going to go ahead and get our next games on tap. It'll be Eisenhower and Ridgefield coming up next on this court in front of us. And so we've got this going. Another great basketball game coming up as we've got Eisenhower and Ridgefield. Eisenhower playing in the Big 9, 4A team, and then they're matching up with the actually, which one do we got here? This is court number 1. Eisenhower and Linden is playing. It's Seal and Ridgefield down on court number 2 that are just getting a tip off down there, and that's a close game. 19-17 is. Seal and Ridgefield, that's a 2A matchup. The Central Washington, the CWAC, and the Greater St. Helens League. Ridgefield Spudders. Down there, Spudders down by 2 as we're getting 4 minutes into halfway gone with this second period. 19-17 down on court number 2. But on this court number 1, it's now the Eisenhower Cadets, and they're going to match up with the Linden Lions. So we got a 4A versus 2A matchup. Welcome back to the desk here at the finalscore.tv. I'm Nick Beckman at the Yakima SunDome, and we are having a great day of basketball today. We've had 3 games go on, 3 games on each floor. So we got 6 teams that have played, and we're into our 4th game of the day. This is going to be the matchup, Eisenhower and Linden. So we got the Cadets and the Lions on court number 1, and then on court number 2, it's Bainbridge Island and Ridgefield. Actually, excuse me.
And then Nate Duchesne, who is a great mentor and just a person that I really respect in the coaching world, and a Snohomish person as well. Became the head coach at Stanwood High School, and he asked me to come and be his varsity assistant. And so I did that for 8 years, and that was the best move I ever made. I learned how to coach and run a program being with Nate. And then I took over for Nate for a couple of years as a head coach. He went on to coach in college, and then I actually stepped away for a year. My wife and I had our second child, and it was kind of time to be a dad and not be a coach. And wasn't really planning on getting back into coaching, to be honest with you. And then the Snohomish School District, some of the people in the district who I knew, who in the athletic department, some former coaches, just kind of pushed me to think about taking the job at Glacier Peak. So for the next couple months, I thought about it and then decided just to give it a shot. It was at Snohomish, in the Snohomish School District, which was really big for me to be back home in that district. I did not want to be a head coach at Snohomish High School. I had great memories as a player and part of that program growing up there, and I kind of wanted to keep those memories where they GP.
Well, that's one, the perseverance and to be able to the longevity to stay at a school and build that kind of culture and legacy is so important to that school, like you say, to develop those roots and to get that kind of culture built. The other side of that is the opportunity to be able to be first at the school, to be that head coach and to be able to establish that. Talk to me about just what it's like to be at Glacier Peak.
Well, I mean, I'm biased, obviously. I'm still there after all these years. I think it's an incredible place. The community support is really strong. The kids feel it. The program feels it. The administration has been great over the years. The teachers are supportive of what's going on. Students get into it. So from that standpoint, it's been special. It's been really fun. I think the kids that go there are excited about putting on Grizzly uniforms and being a Grizzly. I think we do it the right way. So from that standpoint, I just think it's been, you have high expectations when you start a program and you take something over and you hope that it's going to become something. I did not expect it to become what it has become, to be honest with you. I mean, you hope, but the reality of what has been developed and has happened was probably more than what was expected.
So talk to me about that culture that you developed and how has it exceeded your expectations?
Well, you know, I think our program is built on kids that work really hard and play for their teammate. Think about the results versus the individual things. Kids that are most definitely team first, selfless. That started in 2008. We were, you know, I just had our parent meeting and I was talking to our parents, and that it was amazing to think that half of our athletes in our program were not born when our school opened. They weren't alive. And to think, you know, I look back and I think that was just a couple days ago when we had that season. And yet our kids right now have no idea the effort and the sacrifices and the work that group put in to set the table for what has come after. We were really fortunate, and we had a special group of players and parents in 2008. And we only had freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, being a first-year school. Expectations were, let's just try to compete and see what happens. And we ended up winning 13 games that year in our first year as a school. I believe it's a state record for a first-year school. Game away from going to state, competed, beat some really good teams, but played hard and kind of laid the foundation of how we were going to play basketball, and didn't use excuses of not having seniors or kids that have played varsity basketball. We had one kid who played, was a swing player at Snohomish, who played a couple minutes, and that was the extent of our varsity experience. And then the second year, that group came back and ended up taking fourth in state, winning the district title. And I mean, that really set the standard for what has happened since then. And so that is an unreal, not normal situation. And I give full credit to those players that came in 2008 that were selfless and sacrificed a lot. Parents that
Up this year. Coach, talk to me about this 2025 version of the Grizzlies.
Yeah, we're excited. We've had a lot of practices, and at this point of the season, you're ready to see somebody else. This group's going to be fun. Expectations, because of the teams before, is probably, you know, I mean, this group has expectations based on what was accomplished in the past few years and the players that are back. We graduated a great group again last year, so there's a lot of new players that are going to be getting into some roles they haven't been in before. We have really nice pieces back that have accomplished some great things the last few years, and now the job and the goal is to integrate the new players into kind of what we do and what we have coming back, and then you're not going to be very good in early December, but the goal is to be pretty good in late February and March, and we've done okay with that. We're trying to, obviously you want to do well right away, but we understand that the goal is to be at our best when it really matters.
Well, and that's the cumulative aspect of basketball. Now, looking beyond, what are some of what's special about Glacier Peak during the season? What kind of things do the student body do, or does the community do to support the Grizzlies?
Well, I mean, our home atmosphere is great. We have an unbelievable gym. It's one of the best gyms in the state. I mean, you come into our school and you walk down the corridor to go into the gym, and there's posters of players and of all sports. Wrestling posters are going to be up, girls basketball. There's trophy case there that kind of lets you see what's been going on at the school. But then you walk into the foyer there, into the commons, and it's an unbelievable floor to ceiling windows into the valley. And it's pretty breathtaking. I mean, these kids go to school and they may not ever have a view like that in their life. I mean, that is prepare us for when games are kind of important down the end, and they get you ready for your league play. But so we've got some great events to come in, and so it should be pretty fun.
So looking at the West Coast, who are the teams that you look forward to playing against? Who are the teams? What are the rivalry games that really you kind of put a star on your schedule?
I know our students would probably say that Jackson is a big game. It's right down the road. We have players who share fences with Jackson kids. So the Snohomish School District and the Everett School District, that area up there, kids grow up knowing each other pretty well. And so there's a lot of excitement around those games. Kamiak is all of our schools are very close. So, Lake Stevens is obviously a really strong athletic school. I think they just won the girls volleyball state title. Football team's playing for a state title this weekend. I mean, it's pretty impressive what goes on over there. So I think that's always big games. Arlington was really fun last year. They came into our league. I have a different perspective on Arlington than our players because I was at Stanwood for 10 years. The Stanwood-Arlington rivalry is real. And so I got to experience that for 10 years. So Arlington coming into the league last year was a little different for me. I was probably a little more excited than they were. So it's a good athletic program as well. They do some really nice things. So that's going to be a great game. And Mariner has been really tough over the years. I mean, they've done some good things. They've had some athletes. So I kind of think all those teams are going to be super competitive. Cascade, for me as a high school kid growing up, it's a long time ago, but Snohomish Cascade was the biggest rivalry in our area. If Snohomish didn't win the league title, Cascade did. So every squad's got some great balance in it.
Well, and that's what makes high school so much fun is that close proximity and these kids growing up together but going to different schools and then having to compete. Coach Brian Hunter, Glacier Peak Grizzlies, I really want to thank you for taking some time and spending with the FinalScore.tv today. Congratulations on getting your team to 2025 season and prepared. Thanks again for spending some time with us today.
Appreciate you guys having us.
And obviously that was a talk with Glacier Peak's head coach Brian Hunter. What a great time I had talking with Brian about his team before the season. They're in a great division, and they've traveled across the pass to come play the Rams of West Valley. So that's going to be a great matchup tonight as West Valley Rams are in the WIPCA state rankings at number 5, and Glacier Peak Grizzlies, they're number 3. So the Rams at 5-1 against Glacier Peak at 6-0, and we'll see it's East versus West in the 4A matchup. And those are two out of the 8 ranked teams in Washington State that are here in Yakima for 2 days of basketball at the SunDome. It's the Wilbur Ellis SunDome Shootout hosted by Zilla. And I'll tell you, Mario Mangarelli and Ryan Phillips has done just a great job of putting this tournament together in its 25th year. Just to run down some scores from earlier today, Glacier Peak was able, actually I'm looking at the Glacier Peak scores here, because Glacier Peak had some good wins this season. They got a 2-point win over Lake Stevens on the 19th, 52-50. Had a great run against Mount Spokane as we talk about those East-West battles. Mount Spokane, a very talented team. And it was a 10-point win for Glacier Peak at home. That was back on the 20th, just before the Christmas break. And then they played, they hosted the Vikings of Puyallup in a 64-55 win over Puyallup was Glacier Peak. And now they've come back to this side. They've traveled across Snoqualmie to be here in the SunDome on a beautiful day. It's a beautiful Monday here in Yakima, and we've got some great basketball. Right now, we're getting started with our next block of games. This is the a little bit behind schedule right now, as we've got, who do we have out here? We got Eisenhower and Linden getting started. So we got the Cadets of Eisenhower right here in Yakima against the Linden Lions. And what we're going to do, we're going to get that game started. But before we get back to more scores, we'll get a talk and take a look at Pastor Pat Wright and her involvement with the Shirts Across America and her involvement with what they do with the nonprofits. And we're waiting for Pastor Pat Wright will be coming up next. Thanks for watching the FinalScore.tv.
Seattle's First Lady of Gospel, the late Pastor Patronelle Wright's legacy can be felt and heard around the world. She was and will always be known as an icon, educator, activist, a person of great faith, lover of the Pacific Northwest, and the best choir director we have ever seen. From the time she started the world-renowned Total Experience Gospel Choir in 1973, her purpose was to spread joy, hope, knowledge, and love. Pastor Pat Wright's choir shared her gift of music in 28 states, 22 countries, and on 5 different continents. No matter if she was singing for world leaders, kings, queens, presidents of the United States, Bishop Desmond Tutu, the Dalai Lama, or for monumental events like Jimi Hendrix's funeral, the Seattle Supersonics, Seattle Storm, the Black Nativity, at civic events, or even schools, Pastor Pat Wright believed that teaching our difficult paths from the dream of Dr. King to the bravery of Rosa Parks could unite us as one. She co-founded Shirts Across America, a nonprofit that gives high school students an opportunity to build homes for families affected by natural disasters. With over 4,200 volunteers, they have worked on 215 homes in New Orleans. Happy birthday to our hero, Pastor Patronelle Wright, and thank you for the love you gave us.
It was my honor to present students from Shirts Across America with a check for $32,000 on behalf of the Seattle Kraken.
And welcome back to the FinalScore.tv. I am Nick Beckman here at the SunDome Shootout in Yakima. It's the Wilbur Ellis SunDome Shootout hosted by Zilla High School. And we've had a great day of basketball so far. Great to hear from Pastor Pat Wright. She was just an amazing person that did so much for so many. And that being the case, that's what the FinalScore.tv is all about. It's about highlighting all of those people that do so much for so many behind the scenes that help put this on. We got to talk to Ryan Phillips earlier today, the assistant principal at Zilla High School, the host, and Mario Mangarelli, the head coach of Zilla, who have carried on this tradition that was started by a Zilla School District superintendent for 9 years now, Doug Burgess. And Doug, 29 years of head coaching, 4 years at Nat Cheese, 25 years at Zilla, 2 state championships in '94 and 2014, and he's been the superintendent of the Zilla School District for 9 years. He stepped out a couple of years ago, and Mario and Ryan have done a great job of carrying on this tradition. They actually have 28 teams here, 14 games today and tomorrow. So we're going to get 2 full days of basketball as we get into this afternoon session. We got the Eisenhower Cadets and the Linden Lions on the floor. So this is one of those east side, west side matchups, but it's more importantly, it's a big school versus little school. It's 4A versus 1A, and the Linden Lions are actually running on. They're getting on them right now. It's 11-2 as Linden getting in their traveling greens are doing such a great job. And it's a full day of basketball, and we love basketball here at the FinalScore.tv. Anybody who knows me, basketball is my passion, and so we're going to take a break from this stream. I'm going to go watch some basketball, and we're going to let you catch your breath and make sure you come back as we go ahead and get a full day of basketball recap to close out our evening games. I'm Nick Beckman from the FinalScore.tv. Get to your gym, support your local teams.